Let's now cross over to Abuja, where the federal government and Asuu are set to sign an official agreement today. The ceremony marks a key step in resolving ongoing issues between the government and the academic union.
In this, sir, we want to tell you and your colleagues in government that you have an ally in Asuu who will support you to work to make Nigeria a better place for everybody. We are ready to work with you to make life better for Nigerians. Even though plurality of unions has been recognized as the right of workers by the third alteration of the Constitution of Nigeria and Article 87 of ILO, the employer is not empowered to have multiple negotiations with new unions or associations in the case of collective bargaining. The unions are required, and we want the Ministry of Education to listen to this. The unions on campus are required to come together to elect representatives for collective bargaining. You cannot sit in the ministry and decide that there is a new union A or a new union B or a new union X, and you just start to negotiate with them in collective bargaining. Think about it. We have said this thing many times to the ministry, but the ministry is determined to continue to encourage popularity. The law recognizes new unions. We have accepted it. But you cannot have collective bargaining with everybody because the person has said he's a member or he has a new union. Well, if I'm President Tinubu, I know I will not sign every agreement because you just go and bring multiple to me. I want to restate, we are not against plurality of unions. Follow the due process and do it. The unions are required to come together to elect representatives for collective bargaining. That's what the law says, if they want it. Coming together to elect representatives was not intended or should not be on the basis of each union. It's a democratic thing. So all of you come and send a team. The Minister of Labour is here, he knows these things. It's a democratic exercise that allows them to elect those that will go and participate in this collective bargaining. But when you just have everybody the way you want, I wish you well. Finally, we are optimistic that the government will implement in totality this agreement. But yes, pessimism still exists because of our history. It is our belief that Dr. Tunji Alausa will be different. That our union will not need to issue a strike threat before any part of this agreement is implemented. Like you always say, you are open and accessible. Asuu is open and accessible. Aluta continua. Forward ever. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Asuu President. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the President of Asuu was actually scheduled to speak for 15 minutes, but he spoke for almost 30 minutes. But who am I to stop a moving train? So I allowed him because he has actually touched my heart personally. 3 years ago, when my 2 daughters gained admission to the universities, I told my wife I had budgeted a certain amount. My wife now told me, medical laboratory science and nursing is for 5 years. I said, yes, I budgeted for 5 years. She said, no, add additional 2 years budget because of Asuu. But with the agreement and the information I had gathered, at this place today, I can conveniently go back and assure my children that you will finish at that point because it is settled. Thank you very much, the President of Asuu. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are moving quickly into brief remarks, and with the information given to me, our speakers are expected to speak just for 5 minutes. Please, we will appreciate if you can just keep to time because our time is fast spent. To speak first, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome the Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Megari Danyadi, PhD. Honorable Minister, sir. The Distinguished Chairman, Senate Committee on Tertiary Education, the Honorable Chairman, House Committee on Education, my dear brother and friend, Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alosa, Honorable Minister of State for Education, Professor Sueva Said Ahmad, Permanent Secretaries in the Ministries of Education and Labor and Employment, my dear boss and senior brother, Alhaji Ali Ahmed, Chairman of the Government and Asuu Negotiating Committee, ably represented by Senator Larry Tajeshu, Pro-Chancellor, University of Abuja, Vice Chancellor Sir present, the Chairman, Salaries and Wages Commission, Mr. President, Asuu and their able team, other leaders of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, the representatives of government ministries, departments and agencies, distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why I had to speak after the President has spoken. I was thinking that we are here to celebrate each other, to thank one another for what has been able to get this time around. But I'm not unaware of what my brothers are going to say, because they always say, a luta continua, the struggle continues. Yes, the struggle will continue, but we will continue to listen to you. We will continue to dialogue and to reach amicable solutions to all the issues that you have raised. I'm sure the Honorable Minister is here and is listening, and I saw him taking notes. He will address some of these issues that you are raising. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure and deep sense of responsibility that I join you all to these historic ceremonies marking the signing of an agreement between the federal government of Nigeria and the academic staff of universities. Today's event represents a significant milestone in our collective effort to safeguard industrial harmony, protect the future of our children, and preserve the integrity of Nigeria's university system. Let me first and foremost commend Mr. President for his unwavering commitment to ensuring industrial peace and harmony across all sectors of our economy. His clear directive that disputes must be addressed through dialogue, fairness, and mutual respect has once again been demonstrated in the education sector. This agreement is a testament to leadership that prioritizes national stability, social justice, and sustainable development. I also wish to specifically commend the Honorable Minister of Education and the Honorable Minister of State for Education for their swift response, resilience, and determination in confronting the issues that threaten to disrupt the academic calendar. Their proactive engagement, openness to dialogue, and readiness to find workable solutions exemplify what responsive governance should look like. I urge other ministries, departments, and agencies to emulate this approach by painstakingly engaging their workers, their employers, understanding their legitimate concerns, and resolving disputes amicably rather than allowing them to fester and complicate the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment's coalition efforts. I remember we have never had a case where Asuu had to come to the Ministry of Labor for any issue. The ministry has taken everything on their own, and they were able to successfully resolve these issues to the best of their ability and to the best of what they could get. I must also place on record our deep appreciation to Ali Ahmed-led committee and the Salaries and Wages Commission for the excellent job they have done. They have demonstrated professionalism, patience, and a deep sense of national responsibility throughout what were prolonged and at the same time exclusion negotiations. Their balanced and credible mediation was instrumental in bridging gaps, rebuilding trust, and guiding parties towards this mutually acceptable outcome. Equally deserving of commendation is the Academic Staff Union of Universities. When the president was elected, I sent him a letter of congratulations. When I didn't hear anything from him, I called him to query him for keeping quiet and not acknowledging my letter. I quickly wrote that when I received the information that maybe the president is coming in to finish the unfinished business that my senior brother there, the former president, could not finish. I was wondering what kind of a move is he coming with. So I thought I should soften the mind by sending a letter of congratulations. But he refused to respond. To God be the glory that he is here to conclude what his brother, what his mentor has started. And I want to commend the two of you for the excellent work you have done, for the good leadership qualities that you have exhibited in handling this issue. I do hope that you will extend similar hands of fellowship, hands of ownership to the issues that you have indicated, the issues that you have generated just to the tail end of your speech. I believe nothing is beyond negotiation, nothing is beyond a discussion. Whatever we do, the best thing is to listen to each other rather than going on streets talking about issues that have not been addressed to. I salute the union for its maturity, perseverance, and show of patriotism throughout the negotiation process. While firmly presenting their concerns on pay and the other critical issues, Asuu demonstrated a willingness to engage constructively in the interest of students, parents, and the nation at large. This spirit of responsible unionism is vital to sustainable industrial relations. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate the unveiling of this agreement today, I would strongly urge all parties to approach its implementation with sincerity, transparency, and a genuine spirit of partnership. Faithful and timely implementation will not only build trust between government and the university staff, but will also foster lasting industrial peace and restore confidence among students, parents, and the wider Nigerian public. Agreements gain true meaning not at the point of signing, but in the consistency and the integrity of their implementation. Let me assure you that the federal government remains fully committed to continuous engagement with all stakeholders in the education sector and indeed across all sectors of the economy. Through sustained dialogue and mutual respect, we can prevent avoidable disputes and ensure stability. Together, we can guarantee that our universities remain centers of excellence, innovation, research, and national pride. In conclusion, I wish to once again thank everyone involved for their cooperation, sacrifice, and dedication to the noble cause of education and national development. It is my earnest prayer that this agreement marks a new chapter of harmony, progress, and shared responsibility in our university system. I thank you all for your attention, and may Nigeria continue to move forward in unity, peace, and progress. Thank you, and God. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Labor and Employment, for those kind words. At this point, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the Chairman, House Committee on University Education, Honorable Abubakar Filata. Please, let's encourage him with our applause, please. Distinguished Senator Mutari Mbuze, Chairman, Senate Committee on Tertiary Education, the Honorable Minister of Education, my friend Dr. Tunji Alausa, our daughter, the daughter of Jigawa State, the Minister of State Education, Alhaji Dingari, the Minister for Labor and Productivity, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education, friend, the bridge builder, Mr. Abel Benita, Permanent Secretary Labor, the facilitator of this great event, Alhaji Ahmed, and distinguished Senator Atejesho, the Executive Secretary, NUC, Professor Ribado, Executive Secretary, Ted Fund, my comrade, Professor Chris Piuna, the Asuu President, who said I'm harassing the Vice Chancellor. I don't harass any Vice Chancellor. We only have difficult discussions. One of the people that you claim that I'm harassing, he generated 10 billion, he will not account for 5 billion. This part of the difficult discussion. Distinguished Vice Chancellors and Registrars, other stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, today's event has a history. And this history has gladiators and dramatist personnel. I want to pay special tribute to the following dramatist personnel in the Asuu struggles. One, Dr. Mahmoud Modibo Tuko, Professor Festus Iyai, Professor Atari Jega, Professor Toyo Oloride, Professor Dipot Fashila, Professor Bidowu Obetu, Professor Asisi Asobi. Despite his challenges, despite his advanced age, you see him, because of his commitment, see him sitting down at Professor Ablai Sulekano, a colleague, Professor Feke, and Professor late Esco Toyo of the University of Calabar. Prime Minister, it is gratifying to celebrate achievements like this. It's gratifying to agree. But one of the difficult challenges is meeting up the expectations. We normally come here, sign agreements, but in most of the cases, but before I go into details, Honourable Minister, in our rules, House standing rules, we are allowed to declare our interests. Whenever we are going to be biased, we declare to the committee that today, members of the committee, I will be biased. So I have interest in this. So today, I'm on the side of Asuu. In most of the cases, we negotiate We don't make the proper calculations. We don't make the proper budgetary extrapolations and estimates. And when it comes to the second round, another 3 years, when we are confronted with the quantum of the financial implications of what we are committed ourselves to, the government now backslides and start talking in tongues. So, I hope that this will be the end of this practice, where we agree, and when it comes to this, then we start backsliding. I hope this will be the last time we commit ourselves to agreements, and then when it comes to implementing those agreements, we'll start backsliding. It is encouraging. Not agreeing to implement what we agreed on has serious implications for our education system. A frustrated teacher is a frustrated education system. Teachers' interests must be prioritized. We must pay our teachers very well, starting not only from the university system, starting from the primary level. I see no reason why the salaries scale up. I've said this several times. The monthly take-home of a graduate assistant should not be more than ₦1 million per month. That is not this. However, as I speak now, very few professors get ₦1 million in a month. Very few. If there is none. Therefore, my colleagues, when you don't fund education and keep the teachers happy and make adequate provisions for an excellent education system, what you have raised is chaos, what we have raised is strife, and what we have raised is deformed educational system. Therefore, Honourable Minister, I think this should be the last time our lecturers in the universities will go on strike on account of the failure to implement such agreements. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abubakar Fulata. Quickly, we'll just take the remarks of the Chairman, Senior Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Tech Fund, Senator Muntari Dampetri. Please, let's encourage him, please.
Thank you very much. The Chairman, House Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Universities, the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tinja Lausa, the Honorable Minister of State, Professor Sueva, the Honorable Minister of Labour and Productivity, the Pro-Chancellor ably represented by our distinguished colleague, Professor Senator, the Permanent Secretary, the ES-LUC, the ES-Tech Fund, all other protocols duly are respectively observed. I want to sincerely appreciate the effort of Asuu for being committed and determined to ensure this peace deal was signed under this present government. It is with profound sense of responsibility and hope that I stand before you today in this historic ceremony. This event marks a significant milestone in our collective journey toward creating a strategic trajectory of sustainable development of our tertiary institution. Today, we are just signing a document. We are sealing a convenient with the future of Nigeria, a commitment to our children, our academy, and our national destiny. Today's agreement between the federal government and the academic staff union of universities is more than a procedural formality. It is a historic covenant with the nation's destiny. It marks a hard-won milestone in the journey toward a sustainable and thriving tertiary institution system born from intense dialogue, shared frustration, and a collective refusal to let our university remain captive to the current crisis. The path to this moment was paved a pivotal intervention on October 17, 2025, when the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TEPON and Labor convened with the Asuu leadership under the mandate of our leadership of the National Assembly. Distinguished Senator Asuu and distinguished Senator who directed the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TEPON to intervene on this very important development. The academic boys' decade of grievance over unfulfilled agreement, poor funding, and systematic neglect. That meeting, however, shifted the dynamic from mere listening to a proactive commitment to act. The Senate pledging to serve as a honest broker, embark on vigorous engagement with the executive, framing Asuu demand known not as unionist pressure but as a national imperative. The principle was clear. The future of Nigerian education is sacrosanct and non-negotiable. This agreement is a testament to the power of dialogue over discord and partnership over distrust. It symbolizes a renewed commitment to funding university autonomy, fair wages for academy, a structured plan for infrastructure revitalization, and a sustainable framework for industrial peace. It stands as a victory for collective bargaining, legislative advocacy, and compassionate governance. Yet the true measure of this achievement lies in its implementation. An agreement is only as good as tangible outcome it produces on our campuses. All parties, the federal government, Asuu University administration, and the legislators must now uphold their commitment with integrity and urgency. The Senate had pledged diligent oversight to ensure every clause translates into action, aiming to ensure our universities never again become theaters of prolonged conflict. Honorable Minister, we commend the leadership of all involved, most especially the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, who has the listening eye to make sure this year after years, various government has came and passed without implementing this very important the steadfastness of Asuu leadership, the National Assembly, and the relevant ministry for prioritizing this resolution, let this function usher in a new era of stability, growth, and excellence, rebuilding our university into citadel of learning and national development. The real work begins now, and with it, a renewed hope for Nigerian education future is certain. I want to use this opportunity also, Honorable Minister, under your leadership as Minister, who coordinate all the educational sector, we want to unveil in a strategic form to say what we have done as legislators and also to embark on a journey so far because we are going into election next year. So it's our very important development to tell the Nigerians what this current government has done. And as legislators, we are going to do it in 6 geopolitical zones. We will come out with all the projects the federal government has done, all the interventions that was done by tech fund and tertiary institutions, the capital component, and also the law which come into existence, the student loan, the NEL fund, which is helping the masses and the parents from upkeep of their students in the various universities and polytechnics and federal colleges of education, and the state universities also are enjoying this very important development. And we want to use also this opportunity to unveil on the system that is very important to the development of this country. And I believe with the past experience of the universities, lecturers, the head of universities, the head of federal polytechnics, the head of federal colleges of education, which is under our mandatory supervision and under our oversight, we want to make sure that Nigeria is great, because education is a key to success. No country in this world cannot develop. That is why we sincerely appreciate any law that will be brought by the Asuu. We will support it. We will give them all the support. We will embark on dialogue with the executive, because you have to appreciate what the executive is doing, because you are not the only one in this country. There is agriculture, there is health, there is different infrastructural development, and for us as a nation, we have to have an intellectual capacity to ensure that what is supposed to be done is done with all sense of decorum and sense of responsibility. Honorable Minister, I want to assure you that the Senate are solidly supporting you, because you are always working very hard to ensure educational success of this country. And I want to appreciate all those that came from various universities to come and attend this very important development. God bless the academic staff union of universities, God bless the tertiary institution, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very distinguished Senator Muntari Dandote. Thank you so much. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me quote a prolific writer by name Joe Barker. He said, "Vision without action is merely a dream. But when a vision is translated into action, the society changes for the better." To deliver the keynote address of today is this man who combines knowledge with integrity, a man of vision and action. I'm talking about no other person than the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Maru Tunji Alausa, CON.
Thank you. Today is a great day for our country. And we're thankful to God and to the President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for getting us to this day. Let me begin by
first acknowledging the Honourable Minister for Labour and Employment, Dr. Mohammed Ingiyadi. The calmness and the patience that you brought forth through this process is today, I'll publicly, in an unmistakable manner, acknowledge that. Thank you, Honourable Minister. And to my dear colleague, my co-partner at the Ministry of Education, Professor Asuu, you know how much and how highly I think about you. And let me also publicly acknowledge these many hundreds of hours that we sat in meetings, tense meetings that got us here. And you always bring that motherly calmness to the table. When tension is high, I will look at you, you know what to do. You bring that motherly love to everybody. Thank you. And also, a very key allies, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Education, Senator Mukhtar Dandite, my very good brother. Since we've been at the ministry, we've worked so well together. You've been so reasonable with us and so supportive. And during this negotiating as well, you gave us all the support that we needed. Thank you so much. And to my dear brother as well, Chairman Fulata, thank you. But today, you pitched the tent with Asuu, with your natural constituents. You left your day job. It's okay. So, but you will know, I'm going to report you to the speaker. You will not get salary for this month. You won't be paid. And I will get one of the Vice Chancellor, Ahmadu Bello University Vice Chancellor, are you here? You have to pay Senator Danduse for this month. Chairman Fulata. And let me also, at this point, acknowledge one of the best citizens of this country, an illustrious son. Somebody, if there are places, patriotism above everything, beyond his own life, sacrifice. Even at his age, I like Yahya Ahmed, the way he worked to get her to this point. He worked for so many hours. He delayed seeking health care for himself just because he wanted this agreement to continue. I like Yahya Ahmed. I wish you were here today, but the country appreciates you. The President, thank you for this. And to all members of the Yahya Ahmed Committee that worked selflessly and tirelessly to get us here, we appreciate you so much. Thank you. And to the people who worked on the government side, it would be remiss of me not to acknowledge the work that our permanent secretary at the Ministry of Education, Mr. April Ellington, who actually literally became a messenger. I like your honor when you say, go to this place now, and he will drop everything during the course of this negotiation. I think we need to give him a round of applause. Permanent Secretary. And also, through the Solicitor General of the Federation, Mrs. Jedi Agba, who also is the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Justice, for the high intellect, the hard work that she brought in guiding the government. This is one time an agreement was well superintended by the Justice Ministry, so that we wanted to get it right, and we did. So thank you. And also to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Labour, thank you. You provided all the resources. Your team members were there all the time. To the team from the National Salary, Income and Wages Commission, thank you. You provided all the backbone. You gave us the confidence. Whenever we veered off,
He said, this is what government can do. Government cannot do this. It brought us back to focus. To the team, I'm going to hold off my acknowledgement to the chairman of the National Salary and Income Wages Commission, Mr. Inter, till the end of my speech. Directors at the Federal Ministry of Education and the members of the Federal Ministry of Education that function as a secretariat, as well as NUC, ES of NUC, Professor Obadu, thank you. You provided all the funding and all the secretarial support to the committee. To all the heads of agencies here, thank you for coming. And at this point, I would like to acknowledge the leadership that Professor Chris Peruna of Asuu displayed. During the course of this later part of the negotiation, he didn't function as a trade unionist. He functioned as a realist, or true. That we had a lot of difficult moments, but we also sit, talk ourselves through. Professor Peruna and the rest of the executive team, I really appreciate the kind of standing leadership you brought to bear. I think it deserves a big round of applause. To get us to where Professor Peruna was the past president of Asuu, Professor Emmanuel Osodike. Everybody knows the personality of Professor Osodike, but he's a man that does everything with meaning, with a high level of passion, integrity, and he would always prove his point, but he will wait for the other side to say theirs. This is what leadership is all about. It needs a big round of applause to you and your executive team members. And I can't begin to name the several other members in Asuu, but the few I can remember that we've sat at in multiple meetings. Professor Nasser Fagi, thank you for your patriotism, for your work to this country, and for advancing the notion of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that our children must be in school. They must stay in school. Professor Biodun Odoyomi, and to our elder statement as well, Professor Asuu, you're here today. You should be just sitting at home watching TV. This is how you labor, you push yourself to come to every meeting. This is what patriotism is all about. Thank you so much. I would like you, Professor Asuu, a big round of applause. This is patriotism by excellence. And I see some pro-chancellors here. I have to acknowledge you. And all the vice-chancellors that are here, thank you for showing up in numbers, for coming. This entire today is to create stability, sustainability in your various institutions. Members of the press and invited guests. It is with profound gratitude and with deep humility, with a strong sense of national duty, that I stand before you today at this historic ceremony marking the unveiling of the agreement between the federal government of Nigeria and the Academic Staff Union. This occasion represents far more than unveiling a document. It symbolizes renewed trust, restored confidence, and a decisive turning point in the history of Nigeria tertiary education system. Today's agreement is a clear and deliberate, with unprecedented demonstration of the commitment of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to quality, accessible, and uninterrupted academic calendars for all Nigerian students in a tertiary institution. Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's benevolence, courage, and conviction are unmistakably evident throughout this process. He understands deeply that education is the bedrock of any modern productive and prosperous society. That is why, for the first time in the history of this country, a sitting president took full control, full ownership of this long-standing challenge that confronted the educational system and accorded its leadership attention to getting us to where we are today. For decades, unresolved remuneration concerns, welfare gaps, and recurring industrial disputes disrupted academic calendars, undermined staff morale, and threatened the future of our young citizens. Under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we deliberately chose dialogue over discord, reform over delay, and resolution over rhetorics. Distinguished stakeholders, permit me to briefly highlight the core provisions of this landmark agreement, which was negotiated transparently and approved strictly in line with established government procedures. First, the agreement provides for the review of the remuneration package of academic staff in federal tertiary institutions, as approved by the National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission. And this agreement, we're making promise to you today, this agreement will be effective from January 1st, and was effective from January 1st, 2026. The key components include the emolument of university academic staff, which has been reviewed upward by 40% to enhance the morale, improve the quality of service delivery, and the global competitiveness of Nigeria tertiary educational institution, and also to reverse brain drain. The salary structure will comprise the corners and the consolidated academic tools allowance. The 40% review will be represented by the consolidated academic tools allowance and is peculiar to university academic staff. The consolidated academic tools allowance covers journal publications, conference participation, internet access, learning society membership, and book allowance. Allowances, which are critical tools required for effective teaching, research, and global academic competitiveness. With regards to the academic allowances, these allowances, 9 in numbers, are now clearly structured, transparently held, and strictly tied to duties performed, thereby promoting productivity, accountability, and fairness. The group of allowances also consists of enhanced provision for postgraduate supervision, field work, clinical duties, exam moderation, and leadership role within tertiary education system. I want to proudly, a distinguished colleague at this point, it is with huge pride that I inform you today with full emphasis a defining feature of this agreement, one that directly responds to the daily operational realities of our senior academics. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has created another category of allowances called Professorial Cadre Allowance. For the first time, the federal government has approved a new Professorial Cadre Allowance. These allowances apply to senior academics at the level of full-time professors and leaders in our tertiary institutions. Let me emphasize clearly that these allowances apply strictly to full-time and not part-time professors and readers. These This approval recognizes the significant workload, administrative, scholarly, and research responsibilities borne by academics at this level by the virtue of their positions as professors or as readers in our universities. This allowance is structured as follows. A professor will have additional about 1.8 million naira per annum allowance, which equates to about additional 140,000 per month as a professor. A reader will have additional 840,000 per annum, which equates to 7,000 per month as a reader in the university. This allowance is specifically designed to support research coordination, academic documentation, correspondence, and administrative efficiency, thereby enabling our scholars to focus more effectively on teaching, innovation, mentorship, and global knowledge production. This intervention is not cosmetic. It is structural, practical, and transformative. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with the total support, direction, and guidance of Mr. President, we confronted what many had described as an intractable problem, where we have resolved it decisively, now and into the future, sustainably. I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu deserves a big round of applause. This administration did not shy away from complexity. We confronted this 2-decade quagmire squarely through sustained engagement, fiscal realism, and mutual respect. We have laid a durable foundation for industrial harmony in our federal tertiary education system. Another kudos to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. At this point, let me state this clearly. It is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, who has taken us to where we are today. It's a unwavering commitment, hands-on guidance, and steadfast belief in education as a national investment made this achievement possible. For his uncommon courage and people-centered leadership, we are profoundly grateful to His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. On behalf of the federal government of Nigeria, to the Federal Ministry of Education, I reaffirm our unwavering commitment to faithful implementation and continuous engagement and sustained reform under the renewed agenda. At this point, a lot has been said about implementing this agreement. I will tell you today, and I'll quote first the Minister for Labor, who says, the true meaning of agreement is not at the point of signing, but as the agreement gets implemented. I would like to proudly brandish this circular. Today, we have moved quickly, decisively to implementing this agreement. I told everyone earlier on in my speech that I'll reserve my accolade to the chairman of the National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission, Mr. Inter. He has now worked on New Year's Eve because we made commitment to ourselves that this circular must go out, must be released in 2025, so that this agreement implementation effectiveness will be from January 1st, 2026. We worked through the night and ensured that this circular was released. Dated 30th of December 2025. We now have a circular National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission that directs the full implementation of the wages component of this agreement. Thank you, Chairman India. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this we will remember today not merely as an unveiling ceremony, but as a day Nigerians chose dialogue, transparency, fiscal realism, and strong presidential commitment as a pathway to resolving long-standing governance challenges and achieving sustained progress. At this juncture again, I would like to thank the Government Renegotiating Committee, ably led by Alhaji Yarele Ahmed and all its distinguished members, the Asuu Renegotiating Team, made up of patriotic academics under the exemplary leadership of Professor Chris Piwona, and the immediate past president of Asuu, Professor Emmanuel Osodike, and his team, who laid the foundation for this long and demanding process. The government of Nigeria is deeply grateful to you all for the work that we have all accomplished here. What you have done today is not only exemplary, it's noble and patriotic. You have resolved a 2-decade quagmire. On behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the Federal Ministry of Education, and the good people of Nigeria, we thank you all for your patriotic service to our country. May this agreement strengthen our tertiary educational institutions, inspire our academics, and secure the future of our nation. Thank you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Please, you can do better, please. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We have come to a very important ceremony of this event of today. Thank you. We have come to a very important aspect of today's event. That is the unveiling of the agreement between Federal Government of Nigeria and Academic Staff Union of Universities. I would like to request the representative. The representative of the chairman of the Federal Government and Asuu Negotiation Team and other members of the high table, and the president of Asuu and their team can please come down to the basement here for the unveiling ceremony. Thank you. President. Yes, sir. Every member of the high table. January 2026, we are collectively unveiling the agreement reached between the Federal Government of Nigeria and the Academic Staff Union of Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities. This is a great day for our country. I once again commend every single individual who worked tirelessly to get us to this point. Congratulations, and President Bola mentioned it, and we're very grateful as a nation today. Today's signal, the death of strike in our institution. Thank you.
Well, that was the signing ceremony between federal government and Asuu in Abuja. The ceremony marked a key step in resolving ongoing issues between the government and the academic union.